What's up? So currently just playing with my OBS settings, getting everything dialed in so I could start putting out content. And I figured this was a good opportunity to not only test the audio and video settings, but also just get like a general update out there for you guys because it's been a minute since I've done anything like that. So I've been back in Michigan since November 1st. Prior to that, I was working with FSG, finishing out the festival season. So I worked the music festivals Blue Ridge and Lost Lands, and then for the month of October, I was in California working Hauntoween. And having that time away definitely did a lot for my mental health. I was able to process a lot of things. Also, just kind of figure out where I was lacking, where I can make some improvements in my life to get to where I want to be, you know, self development stuff. Um, I also had a significant amount of downtime to kind of work on everything as far as, coming up with a general game plan for HeatForge Studios, write a couple episodes for the channel. One of those being a generalized timeline of events from when I first planned on doing content creation to present day. And seeing the events of my life over the last 2 years on a timeline like that definitely put a lot of things into perspective, allowed me to process a lot more of what was going on, kind of figure out where I was mentally, why my mental state was in the shape that it was in, and why I was so overwhelmed. I was dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome and rejection sensitivity dysphoria from my business pitch, but overall, just like the events of the last 2 years have been pretty surreal. There was definitely a lot going on. So, just to put things, hmm, well, to summarize things as quickly as possible, my mom kind of went off the deep end a little bit, and that caused some issues for me as far as wondering like whether it was the drugs or if I was going to lose my mind also. So um, that and there's some guilt associated with telling her to move out and all that. Kind of get her life together. But anyways, after that, just a lot of surreal situations. So, like quitting my job as a center medical specialist at a plasma center to pursue woodworking full time and deciding, to do the content creation. And then having the idea to, get a Sprinter van and convert it into a stealth camper and have a pull along mobile wood shop, do solar panels, battery operated tools, set up somewhere scenic, do some content, and then sell whatever it is I make or auction it off. So from there, I decided it made sense to get back into the festival scene to, take on jobs that kind of align with the traveling and everything else. And I had some festival experience prior to that. I worked for Encore events, doing first aid and medical for the Cannabis Cup High Time shows. And so, I'd met some people in the industry and, reached out to some people. And so, that September, 2 years ago in September, my buddy David stopped by and we shared the same birthday. So we're, shooting the shit and I'm telling him my idea and everything else. And he told me he was going to Grid Life, which is a drift car music festival. And so from there, I remember seeing someone post an all call for Grid Life. And so I asked him, I was like, would you rather work the event? So you're getting paid to be there and it might open up, more opportunities to meet people and all that. You'll have more access. And so we decided to work it and hooked up with the company FSG and loved it. So the next week they had Lost Lands going on. And so, we decided to work that. I brought Cassie along, and for a first show, like first festival gig, it was not the greatest because there was inclement weather, there was issues with mud, and it was just super busy. So not a great first experience, but I definitely enjoyed it. So while we were there, though, I ended up having another idea for a startup, or um, had an idea incorporating NFCs or near field communication chips into a business. And so when I got home, I shifted focus to working on that because I saw the opportunity in it. I could start this business and immediately scale it up tenfold easily because, the vast majority of the process is all in the UX UI design of an application and, just the product design. Everything else is, shipping, distribution, essentially, sales. So, there's only so much I would able to be doing as a woodworker, doing one project at a time. But if I have a, infinitely scalable business in a, rapidly growing field or rapidly growing, you know what I mean? The It would basically take all the pressure off of me having to do the woodwork for a living, and I could enjoy that. And so, shifted focus, started working on that, and kind of burnt myself out a little bit. And then I find out that I won a national woodworking competition. So, that put me over the moon. And, I won a table saw and a trip to Powermatic. And I decided I got to shift focus back to the woodworking a little bit and, put together a business pitch for Powermatic. I figured since we're going there, um, it'd be a good opportunity to film some content, do like a tour of their headquarters, and reach out to their media marketing specialists. And so, I built a report with them and was working on a couple different projects that I could do for them. So essentially, I was, doing some 3D modeling. I was coming up with a couple different projects that I could present to them and basically pitch it as, look, I've filmed the first half of me designing this project. And now I just need your tools so I could finish the job and put those videos out there. And, basically align it to where, it would be a full sponsorship. And before I was able to finish that, I've yet to still schedule my visit there. I'm going to be working on that tomorrow. Reach out to Emma, their social media marketing specialist, and get that all scheduled and get that going. But while I was working on that, me and Cass were watching Hot Ones one day, and Andrew Zimmern's on there, and they're talking about disc golf. And one of the ideas I had for my startup was disc golf related. And so I thought, like, this is a perfect opportunity. This is the universe sending me a sign. So, I decided to reach out to Andrew Zimmern and got a response from him the next day. And he was interested in hearing me out. So, obviously shifted focus from the woodworking back to that. This is about the time we moved, and there's just a lot going on. It was very overwhelming, very surreal. I wasn't really sure what was going on. I had never done a business pitch, and I'm about to do a business pitch to a, you know, serial entrepreneur, celebrity chef, and multimillionaire who has his own production company. And so like my mind instantly went towards like all the possibilities. Like I gotta dial this in. I got to nail it. I gotta knock it out of the park, all of that. And so, I was in touch with his secretary and, building a report and everything else. Got a meeting scheduled with him and everything else. And y'all, I absolutely bombed the sales pitch. And I mean, overall, like my pitch deck was horrible. I tried to go more so for the live presentation, using OBS actually, and had incorporated a lot of cool things into it. It just wasn't a traditional business pitch deck. So that's where I failed there, and I took that pretty hard because although he was all about the idea, he loves the idea. He wants to see me develop it a little bit further, have more ownership of it, and then he's willing to get me in front of the people I need to be in front of to sell the idea. I didn't get through the whole pitch because we ended on two separate pages. That was his, and where I was I've done everything I can up to this point to, you know, now I need help. I need, resources. I need this. I need that. But I didn't get that far into the pitch. I ran out of time because I had a complete brain fart and lost my place and just never fully recovered. Just kind of, it sucked. But after that, I ended up having some, issues with imposter syndrome, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, lost all confidence in myself, all of that. So, I just never fully bounced back. So when the opportunity to work the festivals came along, and I talked to my boss Caleb a little bit about the startup and everything else, and he's willing to help me out. So I jumped on that opportunity. So yeah, that was great. And so while I was there, I started working on it a little bit more, shooting ideas to him back and forth, everything else, and slowly getting everything going. And, you know, yeah, it was great. But, like, midway through my stay in California, Cass told me that she wanted to separate. It wasn't working out. And, like the time away, I think we both kind of realized it a little bit. And so, I mean, there's no hard feelings or anything like that. Like, we're getting along, we're doing the whole cohabitating thing. I'm trying to be a better friend than I was a husband. I know, like, I wasn't very present. I was, trying to get everything going because I was like, like once things are financially secure again, things will be great. And, just lost my focus, yeah. I mean, I can't do anything about that. That's, just how it worked out. And, you know, like we're both on good terms. And yeah. So, since I've been back, I've been focusing on, getting my routine together, getting my mental health back in order, coming up with a plan as far as, tackling everything, how I'm going to record everything and put the content out there, how I'm going to market myself, how I'm going to build the personal brand, a little bit of everything. As far as like stories go, I feel like I have a pretty good one to tell, and it's definitely marketable. I'm going to read you a little something I wrote to someone just describing the whole sequence of events. So here it is. 34-year-old former paramedic who has PTSD on top of ADHD and ASD, who quit his job to pursue woodworking, formulates a plan to do mobile woodworking with his ladies, starts working festivals because it aligns with the traveling lifestyle they are considering, has an idea for another business after working one of these festivals and shifts his focus. His mom, who is living with them, loses her mind. Meanwhile, he wins a national woodworking competition and then focuses back to that so he could try to team up with Powermatic to get Heat Forge Studios off of the ground. One day, while watching Hot Ones, he sees an interview with Andrew Zimmern and they start talking about disc golf. The other business startup was disc golf related, so he hits him up and Andrew Zimmern is interested in hearing him out. They move, and slowly everything starts to stack up and is very becoming overwhelming the day before he's about to deliver his first business pitch ever to a serial entrepreneur, celebrity chef, and multimillionaire. They get into an argument about money. He says, "Tomorrow, none of this is going to matter. This is it. I could do this." With the added stress, he chokes and fucking bombs. He loses all confidence in himself and starts to spiral. He works another festival to talk to his boss about the business startup and to get some help, but leaves before he has a chance to talk to him. He realizes he's got to put it on the back burner and get a real job, studies and renews his paramedic license, and is waiting for a call back from the plasma center he used to work at, feeling completely defeated. Then the company he works for doing festivals hits him up with the opportunity. 55 days to finish out 55 days to finish out the season, and his boss says he can help him with the startup. He almost says no, but his wife is like, "This is what you want." Sounds like the universe is trying to say something, "You got this." So he goes. He can make more connections this way too. While working on himself and planning everything, his wife tells him that she wants to separate. He isn't surprised. Why would she want to be with him anyways? It's time to come up with a plan. Wait, the mobile woodworking. He can hit the road and film content while selling his product that they hopefully will launch in the spring. It's genius. This is a journey forged by Heat. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, the plan is ultimately to do the mobile woodworking thing again. So, I'm going to reach out to partners, try to find some sponsorships. Um, and with the startup, someone's going to have to be on sales. So it makes sense that, um, you know, it makes sense to travel the country, hit up mom and pop shops, get my product out there, spread the word, create content, and what better way to do that than, traveling? And while I'm doing that, I could do the mobile wood shop thing and I could continue to work festivals and I could film content for all of it. And all in all, I feel like it's a, very intriguing story. It's like I'm at rock bottom and the only way from here is up. and I'm definitely on that path now. So yeah. Oh, but anyways, I wanted to talk about OBS Studios a little bit more. So one of the benefits to using OBS Studios is the fact that I could create different scenes. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing is on the computer, design work as far as designing the woodworking projects prior to completing them, um, designing logos, designing parts of the pitch deck, reaching out to different people. A lot of it is computer based. So with OBS, I'm able to kind of do a lot of that stuff on the fly. So for instance, like this is your classic front facing camera and logo. I have another one that's a slideshow. So um, when I'm talking about a certain subject, I could have videos or pictures pulled up of that and talk about it while it's on screen. So like you still see me, I'm still present, and I'm going over whatever it is I'm talking about. Another one I have set up is a webcam and whiteboard. So front facing camera logo and this whiteboard. And the cool thing is it's actually my Wacom tablet. So anything on screen, I'm actively doing. So it's like for the woodworking and stuff like that, I obviously have to design the projects prior to anything. So, as far as like drawing up my ideas and all that, I could do that while talking through it, and it just gives a good perspective, all of that. So, yeah, that's the benefit to OBS Studios. I'm able to kind of do all of this while I'm recording, as opposed to doing a bunch of post production editing. So, um, definitely cuts back on the amount of time I have to spend editing, and gives it more of a live based platform. It's more so the podcast layout as compared to a nice cinematic story. And sometimes that's what's necessary, especially when I'm doing like design work and everything, or if I'm just like learning or sharing my experience about something. So yeah, um, I'm gonna be working on some content, gonna get it out there and see what happens. A few things I'm gonna be working on are putting together a, let's see, it's up there somewhere. Well, just creating some teasers, putting out an all call to different companies, trying to get some sponsorships. Like I said, Andrew Zimmern has his own production company, Intuitive Content, I believe it was called, and like I said, I feel like I have quite the story to tell. If you're into mental health, if you're neurodivergent, if you've experienced burnout, if you've, dealt with imposter syndrome or rejection sensitivity dysphoria, you have great ideas, but you're not able to complete them. There's a little bit of all of that. It's definitely, the underdog story. Just like the whole cohabitating after love, fails. Like there's a lot I could bring to other people, and that's my intent, so more to come. All right.